Welcome to Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days. I am Austin Ward. That is Jeremy Birmingham. We have a full slate of Ohio State coverage coming your way. Joining us on the podcast daily, Ryan Day. Emeka Egbuka.
Yes, sir.
Denzel Burke.
Absolutely.
Jack Sawyer.
There may be some profanity. I'm going to try.
Forewarning.
I'm going to try to edit out what I can, but if I miss it, then I'm sorry.
I think it humanizes them.
I appreciate these guys being so comfortable in themselves all the time, and I'd like to think it's all because they've known us for a long time, but it's not us. They are just that way with themselves. And listening to Emeka Egbuka specifically just talk about his confidence as a human, it is always inspiring. It's always rewarding to get the, I poo-poo media days quite a bit because I think it's a waste of time for a lot of people, but the opportunity we get to reconnect with these guys after the summer is always worthwhile. And for us, this is the start of year 3 on the podcast. So thank you very much for everyone who went through years 1 and 2. This is where we started.
This is the anniversary.
Two years ago on this very stage.
We started it with an interview with Kevin Warren.
And
then
Bill
we
Landis.
were interrupted by Tony Petitti doing interviews today. And Bill Landis is again still just walking through the back of the shot. Normally, we don't even have to hide it. He's just on every day.
It's fun.
But it is cool. It's a nice celebration for us, I think, that we've made it this far and we want to do more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad the offseason's over. Let's be honest.
Okay.
The last month got a little rough at times. There were some patches where we're like, oh my God, can we think of something to talk about today? And we got plenty to talk about now, and we'll do a lot more on Big Ten Media Days. But, for you, biggest takeaway from talking to the guys today, what was it?
I appreciate the way that these 3 Buckeyes specifically, and I think that they speak for the whole team, are embracing the expectations that are in front of them. We've speculated about, well, they're mature. They can handle the pressure. They understand what they came back to do. It's still a lot to ask anybody, 21, 22, younger teammates. You have to win every game. You have to snap a losing streak in the game. You are chasing a national championship. It is harder than ever to accomplish that last goal. And that's ultimately the way that this team is going to be judged. They're putting that on themselves. We're not doing that. I think we all understand that this has a national championship potential, but they're the ones that are putting it in terms of natty or bust for Denzel Burke or Emeka Egbuka or Jack Sawyer, talking about gold pants and how critical that is for them. Whatever their individual goals are, the collective chase for Ohio State as a whole is a lot to wrap your mind around. And Ryan Day is trying to put it in one step at a time terminology, getting to next week in the first practice. But I
think it's hard for them to contain.
You can't stop because their goals are so large. And I do think that they are still working. They are going through summer workouts. They've done that with a plum. They've done great. Yeah. But that would weigh me down, Burnham. Yeah. So seeing the way that they are able to put it in terms that we can understand and process and see the way they're doing it in real time, I am impressed by it.
Yeah, I think for Ryan Day's perspective especially, he understands the impetuousness of youth, I think, a little bit because he's not youth anymore. Yeah. I didn't anticipate maybe his trip to Greece giving him some philosophical insight into the human condition, but he seems to have brought back a little bit of that. And he on the stage brought up his family and how everything they go through for him, and hearing then Jack Sawyer turn around in his podium session talking about how he feels like they let Ryan Day down and how Ryan Day's the most competitive person he's ever met, and it just seems like there's a different give and take amongst these guys. But for me, Ryan Day, I think, needs to remind these guys about not only, you want to finish this chase, and the last goal is obviously the biggest one, but you haven't hit any of the other ones before. So let's not think about winning the national championship because we have to beat Michigan. We have to get here and win, which this group has not done, which is insane to say considering how talented they are and all the expectations they've had for the last umpteen years. I mean, Emeka Egbuka was talking about it. This isn't really different for these guys. The goal every year is to win a national championship, and the expectation is to never lose a game. So they are actually looking at it from a very mature perspective, I think, which is to say, this is Ohio State. This is what we came here for. And I'm glad, but it is cool to get the chance to talk to them and see that they're not letting it affect them in a way that changes who they are.
Yeah, there's a lot more to unpack about Ohio State and the Big Ten, and we will do that again on the podcast daily before our time is up here in Indianapolis, which it isn't yet. But we'll let you judge for yourself. Ryan Day, Emeka Egbuka, Denzel Burke, and Jack Sawyer right now on the podcast daily. We are joined now at Big Ten Media Days by Ohio State coach Ryan Day, and you've used a lot the pressure is a privilege line, Ryan, that CJ used. And you've talked since the moment you took this job about how there's pressure every single day. So does that mean you're supposed to acknowledge pressure? How do you handle pressure?
Well, it's just part of the job when you come to Ohio State. And you can focus on that, or you can just focus on your team. And that's what we're doing right now. We've had a great summer. Our guys are getting really excited about preseason camp. That's the next step. We got a really good preseason camp. And then, you count on building a foundation up. And I think one of the things, being at Big Ten Media Day, everyone wants to talk about the end of the season and, the playoffs and, the rivalry game and everything. But we got to build a foundation up. You don't just get to those games. And a lot of things that you're doing right now are going to affect what happens at the end of the season. So that's where our focus is right now. And I feel like anything else is sort of a distraction.
When you talk about the summer, for us, outside of the Woody, it was like, this is the most quiet Ohio State offseason of all time. I know that a coach would never use that word, and it definitely probably doesn't feel that way when you're working. But there wasn't a lot of news. There wasn't, knock on wood, anything that major injuries, things like that. Did it feel like the perfect offseason for you?
Well, we're working in the Woody. The summer's been excellent. I just feel like there's been urgency. I feel like there's purpose. Our guys have been really, busting their tail to make sure that they're ready for preseason camp. I think we're focused right now, and we're trying to avoid distractions. We know what we want to get done next year, but I think we got to just do a good job every day of stacking days. And I know that sounds like coach talk, but it's just the truth. We got a bunch of guys who decided to come back. They're leading the way. I think the leadership's strong right now. But we got to go get into this preseason and get after it.
A lot of cliches are cliches because they are true.
Right.
That's coach speak. Generally, people get mad about it, but
Right.
It falls into that. When you talk about pressure, I was walking by earlier and listening to another media member talk about the school they cover, and the guy said, "What's the expectation for this year?" And the answer was, "They'd just like to get to a better bowl game," which sounds like you're talking about Ohio State. It's like, if you don't win a national championship, you get the hell out of town, right? Is that something that you as a coach have had to? You come from the NFL to get to college football or back into college football. You can lose 5 games in the NFL and still make the playoffs and still win a Super Bowl. How hard is it to adjust to that mindset, and how long has it taken you to get comfortable with it? Because the last couple of years, you lose one game and everyone wants your head on a platter. So how hard has it been to just put all that aside and focus on this season?
Well, you learn every year something more. You learn something new every year. But I think, when you look back every year, you try to figure out what are the things that you need to do to get better. And certainly the expectation and what's gone on at Ohio State speaks for itself. But when you're trying to go, become the best in the country and the best in the world at what you do, you have to figure what those things are. Now, I felt like we had to make sure we had the right people in the right seats. And when you look back to the last couple of years, it's easy to say, well, I'll play here, I drive there, and it's different. But the truth is, we need to leave no doubt. Yeah. We can't leave it to one play. And some of the things that's what we've been talking about this offseason. But what you can't do is just get yourself back to those games. You can't do that. You've got to build the foundation. And again, I'm just going back to right now because preseason's about to start, how important this is going to be for our future.
This staff, we've said it a few times on shows throughout the last 8 months, this feels like the most complete coaching staff you've had at Ohio State. Maybe where, obviously, some of that's just because Chip is here and he can allow you to do other things. Do you feel a different confidence, a different comfort with this staff than you have in the last? I'm not asking you to put anyone down, but it feels different.
Well, I think there's great chemistry. That was a challenge that I had for the offseason of building great staff chemistry. But our coaches are going to be a big part of this. We've got to bring it every day. We got to be innovative with our scheme. We got to make sure we understand technique and fundamentals that are going to last throughout the whole season. But I do think we have a good combination of experience. Guys who have been in the NFL, guys who have been at a high level of college football, but also, some young guys in there with great energy.
Right. How do you think that will feel once you get to August in training camp? We've spent a great amount of time in the off season talking about you doing CEO stuff and coming out and doing shows and being in the media. What do you think? Will August feel different for you? Do you anticipate your responsibilities once you get back to actually coaching football? I know you still have other responsibilities. Do you think it's going to be different? Did you think March was different?
Yeah, but I also feel like I'm still going to be involved with football. I just think that maybe it'll be a little bit more targeted in different areas, some higher level stuff, looking at defense, looking at special teams, looking at more maybe, third down, red zone for the offense as opposed to, everything that I was involved with the offense in the past. But I still love the X and O's of it. I'm still going to be involved with the football part of it, but, just a different focus.
Zach Bourne asked us this on Monday. He's like, waiting to hear what Ryan Day says at Media Day, which is how much confidence does he publicly express about his team? Because he probably already has a good idea what he has going into August. I don't know if you can rate that right now, but it doesn't feel like there's a ton of outside uncertainty about your team or the depth chart. Do you feel that now?
I mean, I think we've worked really hard to develop the young players to get to the point where we have third, fourth, and fifth year seniors that have a lot of experience and are very good players. Guys that decided to come back who are moving around with a purpose, great urgency. They know what they want to get done this year. Infusing some guys in the portal and guys in the recruiting that, really have bought into the culture, understand it, but also are really good football players. Yeah. We know we had to build depth this year. We were aggressive in the offseason. So, I feel good about the team that we have. Now, it's a long way away, and talent isn't enough.
Right.
It's all the no talent things that we got to be great at. But you certainly, going into the season, feel like you have enough talent to go reach your goals.
The last time we talked to you was about 7 weeks ago in the Woody. Obviously, you have summer workouts, all those things happen. Is there any spot on the team that you feel better about than you did before summer workouts really kicked off? Is there an area where you, as the coach, are looking at it big picture and saying this is still the biggest concern?
Well, I don't think there's any mystery. The O-line is a big focus, and I feel like we've had a really good summer in the offensive line. I think Josh Fryer's done a great job. Simmons is doing well. Donnie's been a great leader there. I'm really excited the way Carson's been moving. Tegra's had a good. Luke, Seth. All those guys have really had good summers. Now they got to go put it on the field, but I'm excited about the way they look. I feel like we do have a little bit of depth there, even though we got to go find the five that can go play. But that's been an emphasis point for us. I feel like we're in a better place than we were a couple months ago. Mick's really worked hard on that. Justin and his group have really made that an emphasis to get stronger, to get faster, to get more powerful. So it's going to be a great battle against the defensive line in the preseason. It's got to be a physical preseason. We got to set the tempo for the entire season, winning the game up front.
Last thing from me, we sat down in your office after signing day. I asked you when you had a chance to play a video game last. Obviously, the NCAA 25 just came out.
Yeah.
Have you been able to sit down with RJ and play?
Yeah, so what we do is he plays, but I call the plays.
Oh.
And so I think I've already
I thought
played.
you were giving up play calling.
Well,
You got to get it fixed somewhere.
It's a lot of fun because, you get to play the other teams. You get to see kind of, some of their personnel and go through the season and play some of our opponents. So it's been fun. He kind of likes to go off and do this road to glory thing and play with himself, and he's got his own guy. But I like to play with the Buckeyes, and it's been fun. It's been pretty cool. Yeah.
It's like a nice throwback to
it is.
Being younger.
Yeah.
Do you have any travel tips for going to Greece?
Oh, geez. Well, first off, it takes a while to get there and it takes a while to get back. So you got to give yourself a little bit of time.
Okay.
It's just a different world. People are taking naps at 3 o'clock and they come out to eat, like 9, 10 o'clock at night. But I think the thing that I appreciated the most was just some of the history of mankind over there and just taking a step back and thinking about some of the old, philosophers and, Socrates and some of the things that they were trying to ponder in their life at that time and the struggle that they had was really good for me. Just give us a little bit different perspective as a family.
Isn't it crazy to realize that they had the exact same worries you did or you do?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
People really don't change.
Yeah, not exactly.
I don't think the Greeks were worried.
You don't think they were trying to get guys into the Coliseum, being like, well, how do we get this guy in the Coliseum?
We got to get him away from Rome?
Yeah. Rome.
I don't think the portal existed then. But we already have taken it off the rails here. There's still a lot more to come from Big Ten Media Days, but we appreciate Ohio State coach Ryan Day joining us on the podcast daily. Thanks, Ryan.
You got it, brother. Good seeing you. All right, John.
Next up here at Big Ten Media Days, it is Ohio State defensive end Jack Sawyer making his first appearance in Indianapolis.
Yep.
I'm just going to stick it right in. That's got to rub you the wrong way.
Yeah, no, it's got a little sting to it. But, if we take care of business and go out there and play the way that I know that we're capable of performing, there's no doubt in my mind that we will be here in December this year.
Jack, you said you guys have been handling your business. The workouts in the summer have been great.
Uh-huh.
We use outside of the Woody, like this, we call it quiet. It's been a quiet off season.
Right.
It probably doesn't feel that way for you guys inside it.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked Ryan Day about that. There's a lot of work going on. How would you describe what's been happening for the last, 2 months since spring camp ended?
Yeah, I would just say, like you said, it's a lot of work going on. Man, it's just every day, we're going at it, winner loser competitions, whether we're pushing sleds, perfecting our craft in the weight room, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. I think that everyone's bought in, and it's been quiet. I think quietness, to the outside world, is a good thing. That means we're working inside the Woody. So, it's been a fun summer. It's been a really hard summer. It's been a grind, and we're really excited to put the pads on here in another week.
Sometimes if you're like laying down at night to sleep, can you just hear the winner loser being like, does it ever get out of your head? Like
it definitely stays in your head, especially if you lose. Like our program is built on hating to lose and loving to win. So it sticks with you definitely. And I think more so, we put our head on our pillow at night. We're thinking about the cheers and the yelling of the crowd, and the shoes. We can't wait to get back to those. And we're really excited. We can't wait to put our product on the field this year.
As you mentioned how hard the summer was.
Yep.
As we were walking around, like at the recruiting camps in early June, anytime we'd see some of the guys, there was this common refrain that Coach Mick had turned things up and was doing things different this summer than he had in previous summers. Without divulging company secrets, but what's been different? What's made this feel? I mean, you're into your fourth year. This is supposed to be the easy time for you, and it's gotten harder. What are they doing different?
I think that's just you might have just hit right on it. Is that being uncomfortable is the new theme for us, and nobody should feel comfortable every day. And I think that Coach Day's been preaching to us that the only way you grow in life is being uncomfortable. That no one gets better at anything, or no one succeeds at stuff from being constantly in a zone of comfort or in a state of comfort where you're not pressing an issue on something, or you're not waking up, hitting your feet, running out of bed, like someone's chasing you. Because people are chasing us. We're the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten, and people are chasing us every single day. And so I think the biggest shift this offseason has been the mindset. We're trying to establish that dog eat dog mindset within the whole team, and I think you see guys buying into that each and every day.
We had an opportunity to speak with Coach Day, and he said that this is different. Like he doesn't want things to come down to one play, right? Yeah. Can't be about we were one play away. You have to prove it and dominate it and go out and leave no doubt, is what he said. Is it? He's been your coach the whole time. Has he been different, or is just the message different? And is it hard to accept or to absorb the message different when it's the same guy you've known?
Yeah, well,
that makes sense. I'm rambling.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and make no mistake about it. From the day I stepped on campus and the day I met Coach Day, there's nobody I've met that wants to win more than him. And I think that Buckeye Nation's got to understand that. Look, Coach Day is the most competitive guy that I've ever been around, and I wouldn't want to go to war with any other head coach. If I could pick Ohio State again, I'd pick Ohio State over 100 times again. And I think this off season's been different because we got a group of veteran guys who've been here now. We understand the culture. Now it's on us to hold the younger guys accountable, and accountability has been a huge thing for us this off season. Like you said, we've been a play away from a national championship 2 years ago, and maybe a play or two away here from arriving here last year. It's just not letting anything slip. And with the team that we got this season, it should never come down to a player. It should never come down to, honestly, in my opinion, it shouldn't come down to a score. So I think that's kind of been the main thing this year, this offseason.
Jack, we kind of joked with you a month or so ago about the block O, and you don't decide that.
Right.
You don't decide what the captain votes are going to be like. Mm-hmm. But since that moment after the Cotton Bowl, having some of those conversations with the rest of the veteran groups and the group that came back, you were picked to come here and represent Ohio State. So it seems like you're on track, and whether you become the captain or block O or not, you have become a spokesman for Ohio State football.
Right.
Does that feel different for you? You've always been outspoken and honest and upfront, mm-hmm. but that responsibility being on your shoulders, even if it's just something like this, where a media opportunity, there's only 3 of you here.
Right.
Does that feel different? What does the responsibility mean to you?
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't say it really feels different, other than the fact that now I know that, I'm the older guy, I'm the senior, I'm the guy that's setting the example for the younger guys on the team, on and off the field and in and outside of the Woody. So it comes with more for sure. I think that you got to keep that in your mind when you're leading a team like we're leading a group of really talented guys. You can't you can't be the guy to do something but say that they can't do the same thing. And so that's a big thing in our program. So I definitely feel, like as if it'd be such a blessing to be a captain of Ohio State. I want nothing more than that, when it comes to that stuff. So I'm just doing my part, trying to lead this team in the offseason, trying to get them prepared for training camp. And, if I get selected as a captain or if I get asked to wear the block, though, I definitely would wear it. So I think it'd be a really cool moment for me.
Do you find yourself at all trying to be more careful with your words? My favorite thing is when you do curse.
He actually set an over-under on how many times you cuss.
I wanted you to use every single one of like the 7 dirty words throughout the course of an hour today.
Yeah.
Hey, are you conscious of that, or do you still you'll sit down and do 10 hours of interviews today after you're done with us? Like, do you still want to be like Jack Sawyer? If that's the way you talk, that's the way you talk.
Yeah, I've been trying my hardest not to cuss as much as I do. Me and Emeka, we do a lot of reading the Bible together and with a lot of guys on the team, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on. But at the same time, it's just who I am. I'm not doing it for this or that. It's just me being a genuine of who I am.
Yeah.
And if I let a couple cuss words out here and there, then I do. So it's funny you guys say that. I've actually been trying to stop cussing so much.
I don't want you to.
There are studies that show people who use a lot of profanity are typically smarter.
Really?
Yeah. Which is ironic considering growing up you're always told using those words is a sign of a weak mind, right? But
Right.
I'm going to try to make you cry. It was Super Bowl Sunday 2019 when you committed to Ohio State.
Yeah.
You're now here in Indianapolis getting ready for your senior season to final run through. You and Ryan Day have been you were the first player to commit to him.
First player to ever commit to him, right?
Yeah. So
it's cool.
As a head coach, yeah. So you have been.
I wonder if he remembers that. He definitely.
You guys have been on this journey together.
That's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
In a really unique way from going on over 5 years now. Is it too early to try and take it all in, or when you're in this situation, you're just I got to go do this, or do you allow yourself to soak in the experience as a Columbus kid who has lived your dream, who said you'd commit to 100 times, Ohio State 100 more times if you could, you may very well get a chance to wear that block O and be do you allow yourself to actually absorb what you've accomplished, even though in your mind maybe you haven't accomplished what you wanted?
Yeah, that's one of the better questions I've ever received, I think, Berm. And to be honest with you, and when you're in the position that we are and you play at the highest level of college football, you don't really get a whole lot of time to sit back and think and be grateful for where you're at. So I think that for me, it's kind of always a give and a take. I always try to be in the moment, be where my feet are at, and be thankful that God's put me here and at Ohio State with the teammates I have and the abilities that I have and the opportunities that I have that most people don't get. But at the same time, it's a constant everyday battle to become a better version of yourself and the best player you can possibly be. So it's kind of a give or a take. And like you said, we haven't, if we're being honest with ourselves here, we haven't accomplished really any of our goals that we set out to when we came here. So right now, I think that it's not the time for that. It's not the time to sit back and think about the journey we've been on so far. Right now, I think it's the time where we go full head of steam, put the throttle down.
It's hard to separate the players' goals, the personal aspirations on the field with the goals you have as a person when you were a 6-year-old.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So
I think in that sense for me, every time I run out of the tunnel at the shoe, it's kind of a surreal moment. It gets me kind of emotional before every kickoff. So that's kind of the time where I take a second. I'm like, man, if I would have told myself that when I was this big in the backyard with a shaved head running around tackling everybody I can, that you're going to be playing in the shoe one day, then.
Which players did you pretend you were as a kid?
James Laurinaitis.
So that's
it's
surreal,
weird
right?
that he's around the hallway.
I know, and that's another thing is I remember I had a 33 jersey. I wore it everywhere I went. Always pretended like I was him. Tried to emulate him. So it's funny. It's really, it kind of takes somebody to ask me a question like that to really think about. Like you said, that if you would have told myself then when I was that young, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
All right, Jack, summer is over. Camp starts next week. What was the most fun you did? You said you didn't play enough golf. So
I didn't play enough golf. I would have loved to play more golf, but we did play. Me and my best friends from high school, we play in the golf outing at Pick North every year.
Yeah.
We actually won it this year.
Okay.
Shot 20 under, so
Well, how many mulligans did you need for that? Come on.
Not very many. Maybe 1 or 2 that we got.
All right. Okay. 20 under. All right. That was the most fun thing you did all summer? I can respect that.
That's one of them. Yeah. I mean, that was a great time.
Okay.
You know, I love golfing. So definitely that was one of the funnest things I did all summer.
All right.
Yeah.
Jack Sawyer back to work, trying to get the Buckeyes back to Indianapolis training camp a week away. We appreciate Jack giving us some time here on the podcast daily. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, guys. Berm, always a pleasure, man.
Here we go. The truth teller has arrived. The best part of Big Ten Media Days. Well, all 4 Buckeyes were great to talk to, including Coach Ryan Day. But this is Ohio State cornerback Denzel Burke. Denzel, what's been? You're almost done.
Yeah.
What's been the best part about being at Big Ten Media Days?
Just the fact that I got recognized by my head coach and my teammates and the staff to be able to come out here and represent this team the right way. Just being able to answer all types of questions and getting everybody a little taste of what this season is looking to be and how the team is in general.
So what was the worst part? Come on.
The Team Up North questions, the JJ clips, yeah.
How many of those did you get? I was over for your media session, and I think it Team Up North questions, Michigan questions, the game questions came up about 6 times, I think, by my count.
Yeah, I don't like those questions. I mean, y'all know the answer. I feel like y'all just trying to get under my skin with those questions. But
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't. But there just be certain people out here who just ask to.
It's done to get a soundbite.
It is.
Okay, and so to get you to say something dumb that'll be on a locker room wall somewhere. So kudos for brushing it off.
Yeah.
Although saying I don't think about Michigan probably.
Well, he did recant that immediately.
He did take that back.
So.
Yeah. I asked you at your podium session about the transition in your mindset from sophomore year to last year, now to this year. What has been the biggest difference from last year to this? We've beat the dead horse on the transition mentally from end of sophomore to junior, but what's different now than it was a year ago for you? And is it are you just more at peace? Are you just more calm with the whole world around you, or what is it that's different?
Just the camaraderie of the team, us just doing everything together. Just the guys getting baptized, the guys who are giving their life up for Jesus. Just being able to compete at a high level. We got all the chips in this year, and I feel like everyone is here for a common goal, for a common purpose, and that's to win it all this year. And really excited for this team in Ohio this year.
Do you feel at all, sorry, Austin, that you obviously none of you guys are shying away from the expectations, the pressure that's being put. You're actually adding a little bit more on yourselves when you say, hey, it's national championship or bust. But if that's how you feel, then certainly you should say that. But do you guys ever find yourselves thinking too far ahead? Like, is it sometimes hard to dial it back and say, actually, we need to get through day 1 of practice next Monday and then go from there?
Yeah, our whole mantra for real is, that's something you kind of say in the beginning of the year. That's what I did say, just to kind of get everybody on the same page of why I came back and why the rest of the seniors came back. But for us, it's just really just to win the moment every day. Win what you have in front of you and help your players, but to help your teammates out and lift them up too. And understanding that we want to win it all, and there is not going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about any situation. We got to cross all our I's, cross all our T's, and when it's time to play, it's time to play.
And so you've talked about that a lot, but one of my favorite things that you or anybody else said today about that was, I don't want to make sure I get this right for you. I ain't come back for no BS. Mm-hmm. And we have talked about how quiet from the outside of the Woody this offseason has seemed. This team very much seems to be about its business and not BS.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, it's just setting the standard and just being vocal about what you want to do in the media, and understanding that we have older guys here, we've got vets who've given their life and dedication to this game and to this team. And I don't need no young guy. I don't need no coach not doing their job. I don't need no player not doing their job for me to come back. We're trying to win it all, and it's gonna be tough, especially going to this fall camp. Might be a little bit of an asshole, but it's needed, and that's what we want to do so we could bring back a ship, right, guys?
Yeah. So when we're saying it's quiet outside, what's been the noise like inside the Woody? I know that there's work going on.
Really no noise, man. It's just really, like I said, Coach Day likes to emphasize just win the moment, have a sense of urgency about yourself. And, when a coach says go 90%, go 90%. When a coach says go 100%, go 100%. Get your foot behind the line. Don't false start. Don't fall, don't whatever. But just bring a notebook to the meeting. be on time, be 10 minutes earlier, getting the woody at least 30 minutes before you work out. Like those little things add up, and once those add up over time, that's when we separate ourselves from the other teams.
As you've, this is media day. There's going to be some questions about non-specific, football-specific things. When you fired up NCAA 25 for the first time and you logged into Road to Glory and you saw yourself as one of the, player archetypes.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
I was crazy. They should have paid me a little bit more, but
that's what I was wondering, if you got a little extra scratch for that, because there's Travis Hunter and you.
I think he was the first one in, right?
Yeah, I was one of the first ones in. They gave me a little bit extra, but it's a blessing to be able to see that and be a part of the game, and just to see myself in that game, something I've dreamed of as a little kid. And I didn't think I was going to be in the game until I got to the league, but the fact that it's out now and being able to be a part of it, like, it's crazy. The world is changing, and I'm blessed.
You said your rating was too low.
Yeah, should have been like a 94, 95, but I guess they don't see me as the best corner in the nation, but we'll see.
I don't know. Do they get to do they update those rosters in the season?
Yeah, they'll have like they'll have like waves,
Jack Sawyer was mad because his speed was higher than his strength, which I don't think might have got those backwards.
Yeah, they might have got those backwards.
Denzel, so you got to go home a little bit in May. We saw you. You came into Buck 9, so you got out a little bit. You've been doing some training back in Arizona. You've been back with the team now for 6-7 weeks. Did you do anything fun with your summer?
No, man, really just train.
Nothing?
Golf.
Just golf.
That's what it is for me, man. Like, it's really therapeutic for me, and if I had to play football, I'll be a full-time golfer.
Yeah.
For real.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this. Obviously, you were one of the guys, one of the ringleaders of bringing everyone back. You are a senior heading into your final year at Ohio State. What would it mean to you if you were selected to wear the black O? And who would you vote for to wear the black O?
That's a good one. I'll probably give the black O to Cody Simon. And if the team voted me to wear the black O, I personally wouldn't wear it because I'm gonna stick with my 10. That's just me.
You changed numbers too many times?
Too many times.
You don't like that 29 you were rocking?
29 was a shit, but I didn't like 5. I don't know why I changed to 5. That was just trying to get a single digit, but yeah, let's forget about that time.
We had to get new rosters every week. Where's Denzel this week?
Exactly. But yeah, 10, man, that's me. But if I had to vote for someone with a block O, definitely Cody Simon.
Why?
Just his consistency every day, his vocal, his leadership, and his give a shit factor when it comes to being in the woody every day.
Could you have imagined 4 years ago? We've asked you a number of questions like this about speaking up, but being a spokesman for Ohio State, being at an event like this, Coach Day talked about your leadership, and we know that you've become increasingly more outspoken as your careers come on. But I don't know. This can be a lame event if you want it to be, but it's also an opportunity to represent Ohio State and to talk all day about it. What does it mean for you to do this?
Yeah, like I said earlier, like it's an honor to be able to be out here and represent my team, and know that I'm gonna represent them in the right way, and let the world know kind of a taste of what Ohio State is, and being able to be a spokesperson, and it's an honor, and not something I ever thought I'd be doing. Never thought I'd be a leader. Never thought I'd be in a leadership council. Never thought I'd be here representing my team at Big Ten Media. So it's just God blessing me in all types of ways, and I'm just really happy and blessed.
How do you develop into that? I mean, you know what I mean? Because you're the one saying, I would have never thought I would have done this. Like, you're a kid from Arizona who comes to Ohio, and you come in and people don't know what to expect out of you as a freshman. You start every game. You have a lot of people talking about you. You have what you would admit is a down year in your second year, where some guys could have been rubbed the wrong way and said, "Hey, screw this! I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna increase my GAFS," as Schlegel would say. Like, but you chose to do that. I mean, is that the byproduct of just your growing up, your dad, your parents? Is it a byproduct of being around other guys in the woody that brought it out of you? Like, how does that develop as a person? Because it's not something that normally just you grow into.
Yeah, man, it's really just a big thing, just who you surround yourself with, and who you have in your corner telling you things, who's giving you wisdom, who's giving you advice. And it's just about surrounding yourself with truth tellers, and surrounding yourself with people who have good intentions for you and want to see you develop and grow in a way that's God-fearing, and you could be an example for other people around you.
You said we were in Dallas. It was a couple days before the Cotton Bowl. You were talking about Jeremiah Smith and said he's not going to be whatever you guys are saying he is. And then in spring,
I think he just said he wanted to see
and
it
in spring,
first.
you were like, okay, he actually is.
Yeah, he's like that.
I asked Jack this. Jack was a 5-star recruit who came in, had all the hype, all the pressure. You get a little different path. I mean, again, you were highly ranked, but I don't think a lot of people knew much about you as a recruit. You didn't do a lot of interviews. You didn't do a lot of talking. Has there been anything from Jeremiah or any of the receivers that have just shocked you? Like that, holy crap, we just lost the best receiver in the country, and yet
Got a new one. Yeah, he's going to be the best in the country. Just mark my words, honestly. Him and the Meg Carnell. Best offense.
best offense, best defense.
He's like that, guys. I've said a lot about him. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't feel any pressure. Nothing really phases him, but it's going to help us win games, and I'm glad he's with us. Yeah.
Well,
We're glad you're with us.
we're glad
Thanks.
to have Denzel Burke in Indianapolis. Great to have you at Big Ten Media Days. I know it's a little bit of an honor for you, and I know that you actually want to be back here in December, not so much in July. So we'll let you get back to the rest of your business. Thanks so much, Denzel Burke, for joining us. Okay, last but not least here at Big Ten Media Days, Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. What are your thoughts about representing Ohio State at an event like this, Emeka?
It's a huge honor just to be able to represent on behalf of my team, to be chosen by the coaches. I mean, it's a huge honor, something I don't take lightly, and I mean, it's a beautiful venue. I'm looking forward to being back here.
Yeah, I know that's been talked to Jack about that. It's like a little bit salt in the wounds. You want to be here in December, not in July.
Right.
But for you, is that, I don't know, a taste of it? I know that's why you came back, is to get here in a couple months, but just to be here and thinking about all the questions that you've been getting about not having played here has to be a little bit annoying. And but I guess that's why they chose somebody like you to handle that process.
No, yeah, I'm super thankful to be chosen for this process, like I said. But yeah, you don't want to be here in July. You want to be here in December. It's something I'm very much looking forward to. If we're able to take care of business this season, I have no doubts that we'll be able to make it back here.
You're almost done now with hours and hours of talking about football and getting some questions you might like and some you don't. What's been the best part about this experience, and what's been the worst?
Just the connections, meeting all the people, getting to talk, but ultimately share my faith and my testimony in Jesus. That's really one of my main reasons for coming back with this new platform that I have, to shed light on the hope of the world. So that's all I'm really trying to do.
We've known each other a while now. You know how my brain works, kind of.
Yeah.
No, that's scary.
I was listening to you talk in your podium session, and someone asked you about your decision to return, and we've rehashed that a dozen times or more just between us three. And you said you weren't sure where you were going to be after the Missouri game, and it made me wonder: was there any other possibility other than the draft or returning here?
That was something I was kind of talking about with my family, but ultimately Ohio State's the place for me. Like there's nothing else to it.
My brain was just spiraling on that for a bit. I'm like, I wonder if he actually thought about anything else. Is there anything you're bad at? Like, I'm asking this in the nicest possible way.
My mom asks that a lot, actually. She gets mad.
It's actually kind of annoying.
Yeah, my friends say that too. You should ask Cam Babb; he hates it.
So there is nothing that you're like,
he can't think of it.
I mean, you'd have to ask them.
Like
there's nothing off the top of my head.
There are people in the world who are naturally gifted athletically. Okay, like we get it. Believe it or not, I'm one of them. I do most things fairly well athletically. But then I see you do it, and I think you could be a pro at any single sport that you play. Baseball, you could have been drafted. I believe you could be a professional golfer in the next 5 years if you tried. Like, is there anything that you like, man, I suck at that?
It's weird because I'm not the best ice skater, but I can roller skate, though, and I can roller blade. So I don't know why I can't ice skate.
I'm sure, but
I've only done it once. I didn't like it.
Well, that's it. Because you're just not committed to it.
I wasn't committed to it. But roller skating, rollerblading is fun. I have fun with that.
It's a little more stable than just that one little piece.
Yeah,
of metal.
exactly.
Yeah. You have anything?
No, I mean, it's just
your brain is like
it's
really
been in my brain.
spiraling.
I was walking over here. I'm like, I just, you're on stage. You're like the most natural person in the world. You're so comfortable in your own skin. And I just wonder what it's like to be that person sometimes. And do you ever realize how different that is than the average person who is just absolutely riddled with anxiety and self-doubt?
I mean, yeah, my confidence comes from Jesus, man. That's all I can really say. I'm affirmed in my identity. I know who I am. He's blessed me with a lot of abilities, and I try to use them to the best way I can, whether it's, football, ping pong, pool.
That's anything. What I'm saying. I feel like you would be.
He's got pretty good hand-eye coordination. He also can catch a football one-handed.
I can.
We did that in the spring game, Mac. And I've told people this, like, you don't feel like you had to remind people who you are.
No.
But I think it did, because there's been so much talk about, well, Jeremiah's the next one up. People are excited for Carnell, and Travion and Quinshon are in the backfield. I know you didn't do it for that purpose, but that catch did do that. Have you thought about that at all? Like, that you were reminding people this guy is pretty good, and he's got a chance to break a lot of Ohio State records. And that catch, I think, sparked the imagination for some people.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame them too much. I was hurt a little bit last year. I was riddled with some injuries, and, I wasn't really fully myself. But I do feel very confident in my ability to be able to play this game that we call football to a very high level when I am healthy. And I felt very healthy all spring. I feel very healthy right now. And, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm looking forward to putting that on display in the fall.
Where does that catch, it's an exhibition, it was a practice, rank among some of the better ones you think that you've had?
It was okay.
Just okay. All right. Well,
yeah. I've had some crazy ones. Not all
what do you think is the best?
Not all of them are on camera.
Sure. Okay.
I've had some like really crazy stuff, especially in some 7-on-7 tournaments when I was in high school. Like, there's some ones that were up there, but we're not filming everything like we are in college. You know what I mean?
And when you never know where the ball's going from your quarterback, exactly. It's easy. You got more opportunities.
Yeah.
I asked this of Denzel, and I'm going to ask it of you as well. You're entering your 4th year at Ohio State. You're from Seattle, Washington. You have probably didn't grow up dreaming about anything Buckeye related, right?
Right.
But you're in a position where you might be one of those guys who gets some votes for wearing the Black O.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously Cam Babb, one of your closest friends, he wore it. It's a great honor. What would it mean to you if you were voted that by your teammates? And who would you vote for to wear the Black O if you get a chance to?
Yeah. Man, if I was voted by my teammates for the Black O, it would be hard. I'd be pretty emotional if that were to happen, because it's just such an honor, especially being a guy, not coming from Ohio, not really knowing what the culture means, and people accepting me with open arms, and having an opportunity to play here is just such a dream. And man, I just love this university. I'm a Buckeye through and through. So it would just be a huge honor. It doesn't really get better than that to me. And if I had to vote for somebody, I think a safe bet would probably be Cody Simon.
Really? That's who Denzel voted for as well.
I mean, 5th-year guy, leadership, blue collar guy, someone just you want with you in the trenches, and someone who's going to lay his life out on the line for his team. You can go to him about anything in your life, and he's the epitome of what it means to be a Buckeye.
I like to use these moments as like a way to call back moments. Do you remember the first time you visited Ohio State in February of 2019? And what was it about that moment that sparked something in you about being a Buckeye? And as you look ahead now, 5 years to now, is it crazy to see it's all panned out?
Yeah. I wouldn't really say that first visit was something you can put into words. It was just something that I felt, and I felt right being here. I felt right in Columbus, and I kind of knew from that moment that, okay, every visit I go on from now has to match that. And when I came back here for the second time, I was like, this is pretty much it. And I took some other visits. I was trying to figure it out, trying to do everything I could to make the best decision, most educated decision. But at the end of the day, it was always Ohio State.
Emeka, you got a week until training camp starts. You're running out of time to break even par for this year. I mean, you're going to get in a little bit more golf before next week? Or
I'm going to try my best. My schedule's pretty loaded, so we'll see if I can fit in around. I'll probably find a way to do it, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One more week to go. The off-season is over. Big Ten Media Days also over for Emeka Egbuka and the Buckeyes. We appreciate Ryan Day, Emeka, Denzel Burke, and Jack Sawyer for joining us. This has been the Podcast Daily. He's Berm. I'm Austin. See you later.